In today's video, you will learn why the famous slide and flip mechanism was developed, how Jaeger and LeCoultre were united as one company, and how World War II and the invasion of Japanese quartz watches had a negative impact on production. Many models have been produced by watch brands during the decades, but just a few were able to leave a mark in history, like the Reverso. Jaeger LeCoultre offers a lot of variations of this icon, but until nowadays they managed to stay totally faithful to its origins. It's all started during the winter of 1930-1931. While traveling to India, the Swiss businessman, watch dealer and collector Caesar de Trey attended a polo match at a club of British Army officers. During that time, these officers enjoyed playing polo in their downtime. The sport is somewhat brutal and aggressive, from powerful mallets to hard polo balls. One of these officers, who just had broken the glass of his watch, challenged de Trey to create a watch model robust enough to resist a polo match. Back home, Caesar de Trey discussed the idea with Jaeger LeCoultre, the then owner of the LeCoultre manufacturer, who could provide the movements for the new watch. Then LeCoultre appointed the company Jaeger SA for the creation of the reversible case, which in turn contracted the French designer René Alfred-Chavot, the actual inventor of the unique slide and flip mechanism. So the development of the Reverso is what spurred the partnership between Jaeger SA and LeCoultre to form Jaeger LeCoultre, as we know the brand today. After the two companies merged into one brand, it was time to find a common logo. In 1973, the official creation of the Jaeger LeCoultre brand brought the two logos together. LeCoultre retained its prominency, and the line with the two Jaeger loops was applied to the entire new signature. Concurrently, the two historical logos were still also used separately for several years. Jaeger mainly for the historical activity of dashboard counters in the automotive and aeronautical sectors, and LeCoultre for the watchmaking activity in North America until the 1960s. So looking back to 1931 in Paris, René Alfred-Chavot officially patents his invention of a wristwatch which can slide on its base and flip over on itself. The result was an elegant watch with a dial that could flip, protecting it from shocks. The Reverso was born. Although there's no official confirmation of the origin of the name in the archives, it naturally arose from the nature of its swiveling case. Within the context of time, the name was both easy to remember and understandable in every language. Using grooves, pins and a locking mechanism, the central part of the case can rotate 180 degrees. This is not only a practical construction, but also an aesthetically elegant design, as it gives the watch a very casual and dressed face and a robust plain caseback for sport purposes. The first Reverso watches were sent to India so that polo players could appreciate their quality. After its initial success, it ran into trouble following World War II. The Reverso watch history became uncertain throughout the 1940s, 50s and 60s. The Art Deco aesthetic faded in popularity and round watches became the new style. And not to forget the late 1960s, where the invasion of Japanese quartz watches put mechanical watches on the back burner for a while. And for these reasons, the production of the Reverso was even completely stopped in the early 1970s. Finally, in 1982, the Reverso was revived by Jaeger LeCoultre in a line of watches that housed mostly quartz movements. Another interesting fact is that between December 1931 and April 1932, 8 Reverso cases were sold to Patek Philippe. This operation was carried out with the agreement of Caesar de Trey, who had already registered the name Reverso as a trademark, and of Jaeger LeCoultre, who was on the board of directors of Patek Philippe at the time. Patek Philippe thus marked 8 Reverso watches in its own name under the reference 106, including one for ladies. Our today's piece is from the 90s and is 39 mm long and 23 mm large. The original Reverso case was 38 mm long, 24 mm large, and that's the same size of today's Reverso Classic. The dial of the original model only features hours and minutes hands. It was only in 1934 that LeCoultre introduced a version with a small second counter at 6 o'clock. Although they based Reverso's design on functionality, it also captures the Art Deco aesthetic of the era. The long life of the Reverso is no surprise, and its two faces design was an opportunity for several facelifts, new complications, and many special editions. Over the decades, it came with almost every existing complication, from simple GMT to grand complications. Instead of considering the caseback as a protective shield, Reverso saw the surface as a blank canvas in space to add a unique personality to their watches. The manufacturer has extensive archives of the many coats of arms, crests, and monograms engraved and lacquered on the back of Reverso watches over the decades. The diversity of dials in terms of colors, hands, hour markers, numerals, and designs set it apart right from start. Whether silvered, black, red, burgundy, blue or brown, they adopted the railroad minute track. At the time when white and silver toned dials were the norm in the watch industry, LeCoultre was one of the few mentions to offer colored dials, reinforcing the resolutely modern character of the Reverso. The first dials were signed Reverso, Jaeger or LeCoultre, and later Jaeger LeCoultre. And some limited quantities of the Reverso were also delivered to a few very foreign-trade customers and retailers such as Cartier and Gobelin. The dials were then signed with their names. From 1931 to the present day, the Reverso continuously reinvented itself without ever changing its identity. So that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed today's video and learned something new. We would be very happy to see you in our next video.